is one of the biggest developmental challenges facing African economies. According to Transparency International, 43% of Africans are living in poverty, while over 50 billion US dollars worth of stolen assets flow out of Africa every single year.
Corruption and related illicit financial flow has been a major impediment to trade, economic development, and democracy in Africa.
The United Nations estimates that $3.6 trillion is lost to corruption, while the World Bank estimates that corruption adds 10% to the cost of doing business, and many argue this is a conservative figure. In Africa, the African Union estimates that $140 billion a year is lost to corruption.
The low level of development in Africa is reinforced by extensive corruption schemes which scare off investors and discourages development. Once corruption becomes entrenched, its negative effects multiply. It induces cynicism because people begin to regard it as the norm. It undermines social values because people find it easier and more lucrative to engage in corruption than to engage in legitimate employment. It limits economic growth because it reduces the amount of public resources and discourages private investment and savings.
Corruption slows economic growth because it distorts intensive and market signal, leading to misallocation of resources. Corruption not only increases the cost of production, but also increases uncertainty in African economies, hence decreasing investment in financial, physical, and human capital. As a result, many African youths are now losing their life in an effort to illegally migrate in search of better opportunities in developed countries. Corruption undermines democracy. By diverting rare resources from disadvantaged people, it damages the rule of law, social justice, and lowers the trust of citizens in political institutions and processes.
We need social activism and collective action that brings different groups to work together collectively with shared interests, values, and purposes rooted in integrity. You need a strong civil society that brings together a network of voluntary groups, sustained participation and political engagement of many people in sharing information, communicating, and participating in government's processes.
If leaders are serious about mitigating corruption, the first thing to do is for us to declare our wealth on an annual basis. Corruption currently is about 12% or even 15 to 20% depending on the GDP of that country. If that could be applied back into solving social problems, we would have a much wealthier nations in Africa. The economic justification is there. All we have to do is to start with ourselves to ensure that we mitigate corruption. We need to change the way our people work, the way they think. And you reward people for looking at that, and you strengthen your systems. And that way you begin to drive this gradual change of culture in an organization. And the private sector, being a very strong influence in any economy, could actually be the best catalyst for change in terms of personal commitment to stopping corruption.